You ever hear a sound that just stops you cold? Like the clang of metal slamming against tile that shatters everything around it? That's exactly what happened one late afternoon in the girls' locker room at Jefferson High. The usual quiet after classes had ended was ripped apart by a sharp, painful cry. At the center of it all stood Rachel, Miller's-shy sophomore, who had gotten there early for volleyball practice. Blood was dripping from a cut just above her eyebrow, her hands shaking as she pressed against her face, tears threatening to spill. And, towering over her, three senior boys, Derek, Lucas, and their leader, Connor. If you've ever met a high school bully, you know the type. Connor was the star quarterback, the kind of guy whose grin wasn't just cocky, it was cruel, the kind that promised trouble. Derek was lean and mean, smirking like he was daring her to fight back, while Lucas tried to play it cool, cracking jokes, but his nervous laughter gave him away. Rachel was never the kind of girl to draw attention. She slid into the background in class, hiding behind her long brown hair, barely speaking even when she knew the answers. Teachers pushed her to speak up, but the spotlight made her shrink. Now, in that locker room, with a metallic taste of blood in her mouth and panic squeezing her chest, she felt the world collapse. Connor sneered, his voice dripping with menace, mocking her trembling hands and tear-streaked face. "Say one word and you'll regret it," he hissed, shoving her hard against the lockers. Pain shot through her shoulder as she stumbled, frozen and silent. The boys glanced nervously around the creaking door, made them jump, but no one came in. Time was running out for Rachel. Moments later, Olivia, her teammate, burst in. Her eyes widened in shock as she took in the blood on Rachel's face. "Oh my God, Rachel, what happened?" she gasped. Rachel, shaking, could only whisper for a towel. Olivia rushed to her side, pressing wet paper towels gently against the cut. The adrenaline faded, leaving a deep ache, but the worst wound was something Olivia could barely touch: the betrayal of what was supposed to be a safe place. "We're telling someone," Olivia said firmly, helping Rachel to her feet. They headed to the main office, where whispers followed them down the fluorescent-lit hallways. Students stared, some with sympathy, some with suspicion at Rachel's bruised cheek and bleeding brow. At the front desk, Mrs. Harper, the receptionist, paled. "Dear Lord, what happened?" Olivia explained the attack, but Rachel hesitated, Connor's threat twisting her stomach. Still, the injustice burned hot inside her. Silence wasn't an option. The school nurse arrived, antiseptic stinging the fresh cut. Principal Dawson, a tall man with a furrowed brow that seemed permanent, soon joined them. His calm shifted as Olivia recounted the story. "Do you know who did this?" he asked. Rachel's gaze dropped, but finally his face was everywhere in banners and local news. Naming him felt like breaking some sacred, unspoken rule, but the memory of his cruelty pushed her forward. Dawson's eyes narrowed. Connor's charm on the field was well known. His darker side was whispered about. The principal stepped away to make a call. Rachel's heart pounded. There was no going back. Her mother, Karen, arrived shortly after. A waitress juggling double shifts, fierce when it came to Rachel. Seeing her daughter's injuries, Karen's face crumpled, but her voice hardened. "We'll file a report. We'll get a lawyer if we have to," she promised. In the car, Rachel stared out the window, her reflection cracked by bruises and blood. The pain in her face was nothing compared to the humiliation swelling inside. America, the land of the free, yet bullies roamed her school like kings. Something had to change. Meanwhile, Connor was seething behind the gym, slamming a football against the wall. "She's ruining my senior year," he growled. Lucas shifted nervously. "You went too far, man," he muttered, but Connor was too used to getting away with it to care. A quiet girl challenging him? Unthinkable. She'd better watch herself. Connor hissed, his voice cold as ice. Police involvement didn't scare him, it only fueled his anger. The next morning, Rachel walked into Principal Dawson's office, bruised and trembling, but determined. Connor, Derek, and Lucas sat nearby with their parents. Connor's father, a burly man with a scowl, snapped, "My son wouldn't do this unprovoked," implying Rachel had lied. Rachel clenched her fists under the table, but told the story straight, voice shaking yet steady. Connor shrugged off the accusations, calling it just messing around. Olivia, who had seen Rachel on the floor, backed up her story. The nurse's report detailed Rachel's injuries, and after tense deliberation, Dawson suspended Connor from the football team, pending review. Derek and Lucas got 2-week suspensions. Connor's father erupted in fury, but the principal stood firm. Rachel left the office with a flicker of triumph this wouldn't be swept under the rug. But rumors spread fast. Some students branded Rachel a liar, desperate for attention. Connor mocked her on social media, calling her a drama queen. The stings were sharp, but Rachel resisted fighting back online. She knew it would only drag her down. Connor's fury grew. With college scouts pulling away, his frustration turned to subtle harassment blocking her path in hallways, leaving cruel notes, vandalizing her locker with hateful graffiti. Each act chipped away at Rachel's safety, but without hard proof, the school's response was slow. She felt trapped in a system that protected the powerful. Then, at a clinic visit for her cheekbone, her mother found a nonprofit offering help to bullying victims' legal advice, emotional support. A spark of hope flickered. An unlikely ally appeared, Jake, a junior sidelined from track by injury. They met in the nurse's office and bonded over their shared frustrations with the school's sports culture. Jake confided Connor had tripped him during practice, laughing it off as a prank. Together, they started gathering statements from freshmen locked in closets, a girl humiliated by Connor's taunts, even a teacher whose car was vandalized. The pattern was clear. Connor's cruelty wasn't isolated. When Connor found out Rachel was building a case, he confronted her in the parking lot. "You're ruining my life," he spat. Fear prickled her neck, but she stood her ground. "You hurt me for no reason," she said quietly. "I didn't start this." For once, Connor backed off. Rachel and her mother prepared for a school board meeting, joined by Jake, Olivia, and other victims. The night before, Rachel barely slept, dreading the board's skepticism, but her mission to protect others kept her focused. At the meeting, victims shared stories. Jake played recorded interviews exposing Connor's pattern. Rachel's voice cracked as she recounted the locker room assault, pleading for a safer school. Connor accused them of jealousy, but the evidence was overwhelming. The board acted. Connor was suspended for a month, stripped of team captaincy, ordered to attend anger management. Police got involved. Derek and Lucas faced lighter punishments. Relief washed over Rachel. Justice, finally. News of Connor's suspension exploded. Online social media split between vilifying and defending him. A local paper ran a story about bullying failures at Jefferson High. Parents demanded better policies. Teachers praised Rachel's courage. Connor's football dreams crumbled as scouts turned away. He returned to school subdued, avoiding Rachel. Derek and Lucas kept their distance, remorseful. Rachel teamed up with a nonprofit to push for security cameras and a confidential hotline. She spoke at an assembly, voice growing stronger. "We won't let bullies silence us." The shy girl was transforming. Anxiety lingered. Loud noises still made her flinch. She avoided Connor's old haunts. But resilience grew as classmates shared their own stories, inspired by her vulnerability. The school installed cameras, launched reporting protocols, and plastered posters reminding everyone, silence enables bullies. Rachel noticed Connor's glare, softened maybe with shame. The board even considered honoring her bravery. She didn't want fame, just safety. One quiet evening, alone in the locker room, Rachel touched the very locker where it all began. The memory of Connor's sneer flooded back, but she exhaled. This space was hers now. She wasn't that terrified girl anymore. Outside, Jake and Olivia waved a lifeline of friendship. The faint scar above her eyebrow, once a mark of shame, had become a symbol of strength. At a community center, Rachel spoke alongside other survivors. Her words moved parents and students alike. A grandmother tearfully thanked her for giving courage to stand up. Months later, Connor's name faded from gossip. Rachel focused on classes, volunteered with a nonprofit, and laughed with Jake and Olivia over milkshakes. Nightmares grew rare. One day, a freshman's social media post thanked that brave girl for inspiring him to report bullying. Rachel saved Ida, reminder her pain had purpose. The school's anti-bullying seminar marked a new era. Some scoffed, others nodded, and Rachel felt pride. At the diner, Olivia squeezed her arm. "You're incredible, Rachel. You stood up when no one else did." Rachel touched her scar, smiling softly. "I just couldn't let him win." That night, she realized Connor's regret wasn't her revenge, it was her refusal to stay silent. She'd exposed his cruelty, forcing the school and community to act. The scar was her badge of survival, guiding her forward. Rachel kept speaking at forums, mentoring younger students. She'd always be shy but never silenced. Her journey showed one voice could shift a whole community. The locker room, the place of terror, became the birthplace of her strength. By standing up to Connor, she made sure no one else would suffer in silence. So, what do you think about Rachel's story? Have you or someone you know faced bullying or injustice? Should schools do more to stop violence? Drop your thoughts below. Your voice matters.